Very good morning to everyone. I'm Dipika, and for the next 6 days, we're going to navigate a diaspora of my thoughts on relationship with nature and hopefully create some cohesion in there. In my professional capacity, I counsel clients, helping them to see more clearly the formations of their thoughts that already exist in their imagination. All they need is help to download that self-awareness. COVID has set back my craniosacral practice, but I see a big blooming of body work already happening with vaccinations in place, as people are recognizing and finding help to heal at both body and mind levels. Today, I choose to share my thoughts on nature this morning as I believe it to be our greatest ally on our healing journey. Most people would not deny the positive effects of nature on their essential well-being. For me, from a very young age, I have been fortunate to have had, whether by chance or deliberation, a very secure and consistent awareness of my relationship with nature. Whether tending to a house plant or getting my hands grubby and earthworm friendly, or going to a park in the complex or in the neighborhood. Any one of these things. But I understand that all people are not similarly attuned in a focused kind of way, and they require a lot of provocation to have a consistent engagement with nature, by which I mean spending time outdoors with the sole purpose of appreciating nature, not simply passing through. Basically, what I'm referring to is not missing the trees for the woods. Once a love for nature is sanctioned and established, it then becomes indelible, and for the remainder of our life, we will have a longing to be reunited with nature. Whenever we are away from it, and all because our real self belongs there. Our relationship with nature is a very personal one, not one that replicates what any other person experiences. And so if you love being in nature but are awaiting the perfect companion to go enjoy it with, don't delay your opportunity. Why defer the immense mental and physical benefits that you're bound to get? This relationship, which is unique to us, is simple and without ulterior motives. We hardly ever go into a forest or a jungle or even a park with an underlying notion that we were aiding the development of our brain. We simply feel good, and so we do it. Having said that, knowing the neurobiological angle always helps us to do more of something which is good for us. So science says that conscious cognitive perception of a particular action we do enhances the positive or negative outcome from it. And in time, the brain changes to welcome and incorporate the benefits as a natural and repeated consequence of our actions. Therefore, what it means is that in time, with our experience of reduced anxiety levels or an increase in our attention capacity, our brain will need the mere recollection of a forest rather than an actual walk in the forest to register a simple thought like, wow, life is good. Life is as it should be. How would you like your brain to recollect only beautiful memories and metamorphose an anxiety attack that's coming on into something more tolerable, something like mild apprehension or disappointment? This, of course, requires regularity of mindful thought and practice. Perhaps in schools is where we must begin to explore this relationship thoroughly. It should be made mandatory that every child has a weekly dose at least, definitely more if possible, of nature interaction and a journal entry of that. I have a very big thing for journaling. For when the bigger challenges come later in life, this child turned adult has already harnessed to great advantage a system that's totally free and totally effective. But it does seem that for future generations, we are abolishing the rightful legacy of developing and maintaining a timeless bond with nature. Why? We're doing this not just merely by allowing younger people to stay indoors, stooping over electronics, but worse still, making it a choice between being this and being outdoors. So we continue clearing out space to build more cemented structures, not merely housing complexes, but large-scale shopping malls and entertainment zones. Does it not behoove us to encourage ourselves, and our young ones to spend quality time outdoors in natural open spaces. But where are they in a country like ours of billions? While we preserve sanctuaries and forest habitats, we sorely need more everyday, easy to find spaces that we can simply walk into at will and not await a vacation. So let's look at some benefits. During the various lockdowns from COVID-19, a lack of social life for most people collided dangerously with an unfortunate human tendency when mentally down to become lonely, anxious, depressed, and at times suicidal when left to our solitary devices. Now, for how long and for how many days can a family entertain you? At the time, an absolutely necessary deprivation of public utilities such as gyms, malls, walking on the streets even, crushed all chances at hanging out with our buddies and thus aggravated the possibilities of weight gain, leading to clinical depression. A nation that is the diabetes capital of the world needs to work out stricter policies to maintain open spaces, the lack of which cannot and must not be the reason for us people to evade an outdoor life. Like you, I value fully the advantages accrued from popular fitness regimes that are now a lifestyle choice. Yet, I place nature-induced well-being high on my priority list. And if you throw in bird watching, bird feeding, flora gazing, and flower picking into this mix, we are reminded of the Japanese discovery called forest bathing that I referred to indirectly earlier in the context of schools. Neither did Japan own forests before anyone else, nor have theirs been visited more often than in other nations. But the Japanese live a Zen life and are the first to put it clearly into context for the rest of the world. Heart rate variability, which is the variation in the time interval between heartbeats, as suggested by the Heart Math Foundation, is a significator of good health. So essentially, what the Japanese are saying is forest bathers are likelier to be relaxed, with a lower heartbeat, and feel lesser amounts of stress from having a higher heart rate variability. So with this likelihood being true that nature does all of that for us, one wonders if all that brisk walking we do, generally on crowded streets, flanked by concrete and mortar, will help to reduce anxiety related to weight gain? Or will it reduce weight related to elevated anxiety levels? Or sadly, do we have to take whatever we get? In that case, exercising must be delinked from specially marked time spent in nature, for the two have their own intrinsic charm and value. To simulate the natural outdoors, we feel driven to bringing nature into our homes, which is so very natural. Personally tending to life, even in a single plant, ensuring its survival and growth can fuel feel-good neurotransmitters and a sense of utter well-being. It doesn't matter to the brain if just one plant or all the trees in the woods make us happy. There's definitely something enriching and healing about being a plant parent. We are held captivated what thrives under our care, and our imagination is fed by the miraculous flowering of buds. We are in awe of a universal ordinance that is beyond our everyday understanding and which belongs to the arena of sacred geometry and its higher forces. To paraphrase researchers such as Keltner at the Greater Good Science Center at Berkeley University, when we experience the emotion of awe, we are offered this chance, which is not to be scorned at all, to step out of our little only me narcissistic world and transcend our small selves. But transcend our ego? Why and how? Besides, what do we transcend into? Into a perceptual conscious awareness that we are part of such a magnificent whole that even our origination or our birth and our eventual death are merely insignificant dots as compared to nature that watches over us at all times. This deep belief and trust simply goes beyond fanfare that's created around the celebration of our yearly birthdays and our grief on encountering deaths. What lies between birth and death is what keeps us in constant awe of creation. That is not to say celebrating birthdays metaphorically this one singular special day in the year is unworthy of us. Only this, that if we were to only do one thing, and that is to acknowledge and raise our awareness about a miraculous birth as being a happening of awe, even just that once a year, we just might lean into radical understanding of our real selves, that we are creators, that of a oneness with all other beings that share in common with us everything, including a larger experience of being born. I'm not talking of the differences that come from our absolutely personal environment into which each of us finds ourselves and is shaped by. But what I'm talking about is going beyond merely celebrating our advancing years, even though desperately trying to stay young by hiding behind facelifts, into a place where we understand our ever-present connection to all that is, which was intact before the moment of our birth. Regaining this understanding is magical beyond any social party or gathering or birthday gift. This is our true nature, which will always be a reflection of the bigger nature out there outside us. Thank you as always for listening. Big thanks to Help Library for bringing us together. And tomorrow we'll talk a bit more about awe. Thank you. Goodbye.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.